Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So just following on from the renewable energy session, we're starting the session on energy efficiency financing. My name is Yuki Yasui, and I'm from the United Nations Environment Finance Initiative Secretariat. I'm delighted to be moderating this session. The issue of energy efficiency financing is one of the key conditions for the climate change targets to be met. The International Energy Agency predicts that 50% of the carbon reduction has to come from energy efficiency. So for the finance sector to be dealing with this, I think they are playing a crucial role for meeting this target. So at UNEP FI, we've been working on energy efficiency financing for the last 3 years and have had some key successes. One of them is the finance policy dialogue that we have convened with the European Commission. And secondly, more recently, we have been involved in the G20 working group on energy efficiency finance. So this is a first participation for UNEP and for the finance initiative to be solely representative of the finance sector in this G20 group. This G20 working group gathers 14 countries to date and promotes the needs for supportive and investment enabling policy frameworks in the G20. The topic has rapidly gained importance, and we are pleased that a new long-term strategy for energy efficiency in the G20 was adopted this year with specific attentions given to investment. Most importantly, I'd like to direct your attention to a survey that we're doing right now, which is on energy efficiency financing to collect the most replicable best practice of banks to scale up energy efficiency finance. I take this opportunity to invite you warmly for all the bankers here today to share your experience through this global survey. The web link is up there on the website and on the screen. And the results will be shared first in the COP22 next month and under the German G20 presidency. So the survey is ending this week. So if you could participate, that would be grateful. Now, this is a lightning round, and we really want to bring 3 experienced energy efficiency financiers to share their experience and for you to be able to have learned something within the next 30 minutes. So with further ado, I'd just like to introduce the 3 speakers. We will have short presentations from 3 of them, one after the other, and then we will take questions from the floor. So first, we will be hearing from Mr. Stéphane Legentil, Chief Executive Officer of the Etihad Energy Service Company here in Dubai. Second, Mr. Masato Ito, Associate General Manager and Head of Sustainable Property Promotion Team of the Real Estate Advisory Department at the Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Bank in Japan. And finally, but not least, Mr. Richard Kulos, Director of Sustainable Banking at ABN AMRO in the Netherlands. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours. If we can start from Mr. Gentil.
All right, good morning. Just a small precision before I start. I'm the former Chief Executive Officer of Etihad. I left the company last week. What I want to tell you, so Etihad is a company that was formed, was created 3 years ago. And with the objective to retrofit the buildings in Dubai. We have a target of 30,000 buildings to be retrofitted to save electricity and water. The reason we're doing this is Dubai is a growing economy. There is a huge demand for energy, and we are owned by the electricity company, DEWA here, because the electricity company is looking at managing the demand at the same time as increasing production to cope with the demand. So Etihad was formed to do that. We've already in the process of retrofitting more than 2,500 buildings after 3 years. We've done quite a few projects already. We've launched 10 RFPs. So we are a project management organization. We take buildings from our clients, and we organize projects that we tender to ESCOs on the market. So we really created a market for ESCOs. In parallel to our organization, there is an accreditation scheme for ESCOs. There are around 15 ESCOs now that are accredited in Dubai to do building retrofits. So what I wanted to share today is that Etihad is also financing projects, and that's a major element to because some of my clients, they have the budget to retrofit their buildings, but several of them don't have the budget, and we didn't want this to be a blocking point. So we decided to finance or to organize the financing ourselves for those projects. And I've last year created a fairly innovative scheme for financing energy efficiency projects in Dubai. I don't know if I can put the slide here. I'm just going to describe. If you have the, yeah, that's okay. So what we did is that, in fact, we've been working on a free zone here in Dubai, which is called Jafza, which is a large free zone in the south of Dubai on the way to Abu Dhabi. And we are retrofitting there 157 buildings that are staff accommodation buildings. And the client asked us to finance the project. The client didn't want to take any debt on his books. As Etihad, I don't have the right to put any debt on my books, so we had to find an innovative scheme to do off-balance sheet financing for this project. So what we did is I went through all the financial institutions in Dubai. We didn't find, unfortunately, project financing ready as a product in Dubai for our project. So we had to create our own scheme. What we did is we created an Islamic financing scheme for this project, which you have the description here. I'll go quickly. You see on the bottom the Super ESCO, this is Etihad. We are the people organizing the project, and the ESCO is the company that is retrofitting those projects. We have an investor that is financing this project, and in fact, together with the investor, Etihad, so the Super ESCO and the investor, we have created together a project joint venture. So it's not a company, it's not a joint venture company, it's a project joint venture. And together we are working on retrofitting the buildings of the free zone. So the investor is bringing the funds, Etihad is bringing its knowledge and the project management capabilities. Together we created this joint venture to retrofit the projects. And the way it works is that the ESCO is doing all the work. As they progress, they are invoicing us. Then we ask the investor to give us the finance, and we pay the ESCO. This is during the retrofit part of the work. But our projects, they have really two phases. There is the part where you replace all the equipments that consume energy. And then there is the guarantee phase. For a number of years, the ESCO has to guarantee the savings and make sure that they will be there and to secure the whole financing scheme. So during the guarantee phase, that's where the client is starting to repay, in fact, the investment that has been put in place to save its electricity. And during that phase, that's where the utility is involved, because the repayment is done on the electricity bill. So what happens is that after the project has been done, the savings are materializing on the DWA bill, on the electricity and water bill. And on the bill, there will be an additional line that will be the repayment of the initial investment, and they do that for a number of years. In the case of our project, it's during 6 years. So as you see, this is the way, so the utility is collecting the money from the client and then giving the money back to the investor. And this is an Islamic financing scheme, so we're not talking about loans. The project joint venture is going to generate profits through this scheme, and the profits is splitted between the investor that gets the most or the biggest share of these profits, because they are the ones that are putting the money, and Etihad for its own activities. So this is a scheme that is currently working. So the project itself is, we are finishing right now the retrofit. And in fact, we're going to the repayment phase from next year. And this scheme can be very easily deployed in other projects in Dubai.
Okay.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
wanted to discuss.
Thank you. We now go on to Mr. Masato Ito.
So, it's okay?
Yes.
So I'd like to talk about climate change and energy efficiency solution on sustainable property, sustainable real estate. And what I'd like to say today is that it's on its slide. In order to promote sustainable property, we need to simply showing the way, showing the environmental performance, and to show the way to the added value, such as increased net income and decreased risk premium. And speaking of sustainable finance, we need to promote sustainable finance, such as preferential rate loan for environmentally friendly property, environmentally friendly houses, and environmental rating loans with evaluation of natural capital preservation. So I'd like to introduce some of them. This slide shows our simple environmental performance rating system. That's called CASB, Comprehensive Assessment System for Built Environmental Efficiency for Real Estate. And this system creates simple, comparable, and compatible system. And it shares worldwide common metrics, such as on the yellow line, energy intensity, carbon intensity, water intensity, recycled materials, preservation and creation of biodiversity, and indoor air, indoor environment. And this system also includes our country, Japanese particular items, such as earthquake resistance and measures to risk of natural disaster. So such system shows energy and water performance as well as rating results. And next slide is about showing the way to added value. Currently we conduct some researches on correlation between environmental efficiency scores and rents. So this is an example of single regression analysis. This graph shows the higher the environmental rating system scores become, the higher the rent is. So we need to show such performance more and more. And last slide is about environmental rating loans with evaluation of natural capital preservation by our company. And in this loan, we evaluate items such as climate change mitigation efforts and environmentally friendly properties, activities on environmentally friendly properties. And terms of loan will be decided based on environmental rating. And optionally, on the right side of the slide, we offer natural capital evaluation. This evaluation is target 3 items, such as water usage volume, land area used, and GHG, greenhouse gas emissions volume. And we report on environmental burden and risk information in upstream supply chains. So such loan is also helpful for companies to find where their risk is. So we offer such loans. So that's examples of our activity. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So to Richard Koulos.
Thank you. Energy efficiency in the built environment is a very big thing for us. And there are a couple of reasons for that. We are of the opinion that to improve the energy efficiency in real estate is our single most important impact that we can have as an organization on the planet. And I think it may also be the single most important issue for you, and I explain why. Let me just explain a little bit where I come from, because I represent a medium-sized European bank, 300 billion loan book, of which 2/3, roughly 200 billion, is linked to real estate, is real estate loans. 150 billion in our case mortgages, about 35 billion in corporate real estate, so the real estate we finance as part of our relationship with our corporate clients, and about 15 billion of commercial real estate loans, so the real estate we finance which is owned by real estate investors. So 2/3 of our loan book is linked to real estate. So it's material for us. We also know that the built environment contributes about 25–30% to the global greenhouse gases. So it's a big contribuent to the total carbon emissions. We also know that about 90% of all the buildings that will be there in 2050 is already built. They already exist. So if we know that it's a big contributor, and if we also know that most of the buildings that will be there in 2050 is already built, the clear road is to improve the energy efficiency of the already built environment. So we have a big thing, a material issue in our loan book for the long-term success of our organization, and we have a material issue for the climate. And to add the two makes it, for us, the single most important issue we can have a contribution to the planet. So how do we go about it then? Well, the first step we took is to improve our own real estate. You know, our own offices, retail, our head office, etc. We own about $1 billion in real estate, and we started improving the real estate we own. So with our head office as our flagship, having the highest BREEAM certification, which is a European variant of the LEED certification, the highest BREEAM rating for already built offices globally. So that's our flagship, because we clearly see that if we talk to clients about energy efficiency, the first question they ask is, what are you doing yourself? What are you doing at home? Are you practicing what you preach? And we can say yes. Come visit our offices and we'll show you what we've done. And everything we've done, we've published on our website. The technical parts, but also the financial parts, the business cases, the calculations we've made. And we didn't go, you know, beyond, let's say, 7 years in payback time, because he said some things we may be able to afford, but our clients may not be. So we're very clear to show them what the business case is for them. And then the second step is we started with our real estate clients, because for them real estate is their core business. They invest in real estate. What we did is, it's about a 10–15 billion portfolio. We said the first step is to give them insight. So we had joined up with a partner who developed a software tool with literally in one mouse click, our clients can see the overview of their portfolio, the energy performance of their offices and buildings, the 5 no-regret measures we think they should take, what it will cost them, what it will deliver them financially, with whom they can have it done. So the suppliers of the equipment, but also the parties which can install them. And last but not least, we say, we'll pay for it. We'll finance 100% of the upgrade of your building, because we rather have an upgraded building with a higher loan to value than the current situation. And we start talking with our clients. And of course, we talk with our clients to say, you should do this upgrade at a reasonable moment. You know, when you're renovating, when maybe a lessor steps out and a new one comes in. But if you're not willing to go on this route, eventually we have to say goodbye to you. We will not be around when the real estate loans will be around. So we use the carrot, giving insight and facilitating the transition, but we also use a stick. We say goodbye if our clients will not follow this route. And that's also for our own well-being, because we are of the opinion that this low energy efficient real estate will at the end of the day be a burden on our balance sheet instead of an asset. So the next step is to go to the real estate of our corporate clients. For them, real estate is just something they use in their business, so it's less important for them. We use the same methodology, the same tooling, but we have to look at it, of course, a bit differently, because the real estate is not the core of their business. The most important part, the biggest part, our biggest ambition, but also the biggest challenge, is the 150 billion mortgage portfolio. That's about a million plus households. We cannot use sticks here. The sticks will have to come from the government. You cannot push real commercial clients, real retail clients into saying, you know, if you're not upgrading your home, we're going to withdraw your mortgage or something, or raise the prices. It doesn't work like that. But we have to come up with interesting propositions for our clients. And those will probably not be necessarily financial propositions, a solution to get this demand picked up, because our clients are not necessarily interested in upgrading their homes. We have to find partnerships with technical parties, but also with others, to raise the interest with our clients. So we have to push demand there. That's our biggest challenge. But if we succeed, we can transform 2/3 of the balance sheet of our organization to become more energy efficient, therefore being better assets on our balance sheet. So it supports the sustainability of our own organization, and it can have a material impact on the reduction of carbon emissions of the built environment in the regions we serve. Thank you.
Thank you. We have just about 5 minutes to take any questions from the floor.
Thank you very much. All very, very stimulating. Nick Robbins from the UNEP Inquiry. Particularly maybe drawing on the last presentation, Richard, and also Ito-san. I was particularly interested, given the sense that of the better quality balance sheets that you'll be moving into, should we be thinking about adjusting capital weights for green, sustainable real estate?
Well, actually, we're taking that into account in our commercial real estate analysis. So it's really, we look at assets with a low energy efficiency as having a higher risk, because we see it's more difficult to rent them out. We see it's actually, you have an asset and you have a required investment sitting next to it. And if that investment didn't take place yet, it's just a liability. We're adding, yes. Next to that, I mean, and in the European setting, we're having discussions, or actually our regulators having discussions with us, should put it like that, saying, you know, shouldn't we think about having, for example, a lower maximum loan to value for poor energy efficient real estate vis-a-vis high energy efficient. So also our regulator is kind of considering having more capital allocated to low energy, to low energy efficient building. So we see the regulator thinking that way as well. But at the end of the day, we don't see scientific evidence of the, let's say, the probability of default and a loss given default being different, but we see clear directions in that way. So we can't prove it scientifically, but we do see it in our loan book.
And yes, so thank you for mentioning it. And I think risk reduction effect is as important as cash flow growth. And for example, in Japan, Tokyo Metropolitan have also adopted cap and trade system in 2010. And large buildings need to reduce their emissions by 50 to 70% compared to the first year. And they made effort and they make retrofits and avoid such risks of paying carbon credits. And Japanese government is adopting, Japanese government trying to make the energy efficiency standard mandatory. And it will be enforced in the next fiscal years for large non-residential buildings. So such regulation will be strict, more strict than before, because Paris conference, Japanese government also adopted such treatment. So we need to see such risks when we evaluate the investment value of properties. So that's my view. Thank you.
Okay, be the last question.
Thank you. You mentioned that the exposure of your banks to real estate assets and property. Regulators have been looking at the revaluation, downward revaluation of many assets, say of energy companies and others, that are highly dependent on fossil fuels in particular.
Oh, yes.
And it could be the source of a major financial crisis moving forward. Because what we're talking about goes beyond just real estate. It's the whole energy sector, revaluation of assets downwards. So what steps are you taking to mitigate those types of risks?
What we see is that basically you're talking about climate/carbon risk and the risk of stranded assets. We are analyzing this literally as we speak. I'll be presenting in our highest credit committee later this month, our first impressions, because we've not come across a bank which has a thorough methodology of assessing all those risks and developing a strategy. So this is new also for us. But we are analyzing now where are the highest carbon risks, and real estate may be one because of the size of our balance sheet. But the flip side is people can't just move away to other real estate. See where it's and what exactly, and then you have to really analyze the market. Is it a last man standing type of market where you see, okay, I need to be in the best part of this market because then my credit risks are lowest? Or is it a substitution issue where suddenly the assets of this client may become obsolete because there's an alternative? You really have to dive into it, develop a strategy, and measure it. And so we're basically having our first measurement as we speak, develop a methodology, develop a strategy, but also we've been asked by the European Central Bank to actually do this, report on it, and have a discussion with them about it. So it's very prominent.
Thank you. So unfortunately, we have to stop here. Thank you very much for the 3 speakers and for everyone attending this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
you very much.